But what we have now is a sworn statement by a woman by the name of Julie Swetnick. And the details in this, Kennedy, you and I have been kind of poring over. And you had said something before we went to the break, I think. You can set aside Ford and you can set aside Ramirez. This is complicated because in line item 9 of the sworn statement, it says, from this Julie Swetnick, I have been told by other women that this conduct also occurred during the summer months in Ocean City, Maryland, on numerous occasions. I also witnessed such conduct on one occasion in Ocean City, Maryland during quote-unquote beach week. So now we have dates. And that's complicated because, you know, Judge Kavanaugh now, for the first time really, because we haven't heard from Dr. Ford, knows specifics that he can then approach and deny. I mean, this gives him an opportunity, David, to come out and say, this didn't happen on this date, to maybe coordinate that with the calendar that he and his attorneys have already offered up. I mean, this has the kind of specificity that he could scream about from the hills and clear his name. The complicating factor is we don't know if we'll hear from this woman.
We don't, but you said probably the most important thing. Tomorrow's hearing allows Judge Kavanaugh to get his side of the record out again. And easier for him to do with actual specifics rather than, you know, with Dr. Ford, we still don't know what those would be. That's right. And that's why the hearing is so important and why the vote should still occur as quickly as possible. Do you think that this woman should be invited to talk with that sex crimes prosecutor that the Senate Judiciary Committee has put forth to do the questioning tomorrow? It sounds as if Senator Grassley's team is looking at that, and the lawyers are looking at that, and they have more information than I do at the moment, so defer to them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, this entire situation is just, I don't even know what to say. And I think I share the sentiments of most Americans, just absolutely baffled by it. And I look at this through the lenses. I'm also a social worker, someone who trained actually with victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, and I'm the author of the Rape Kit Backlog Law in the state of Ohio. So when you see something like this, that is under oath, that has explicit dates and things that we don't want to talk about because my mom is watching.
You know who else was supposed to advocate for women in all of this?
Dianne Feinstein. Look, I have been
Why in the world did she sit on this and give no one an opportunity to come forth with their facts?
I am not the only Democrat that's
and especially the nominee for the Supreme Court. She was allowed to meet with him, right? There were several lawmakers who met with him on Capitol Hill.
She did meet with him. She met with him in private.
She didn't even have to mention a name if she wanted to protect that. But why in the world would anybody who was advocating for justice for men and women, because that's
right,
the position that she's in. She's on the Judiciary Committee.
I couldn't agree
and
more.
It's supposed to be for everybody, all the constituents, not just the one you share a gender with.
And I think the sad thing in all of this is Dr. Ford has been used as a political football. I mean, if you really care, and if you really care about her, as I think many of us would like to hear her story, I totally give her the benefit of the doubt. And I think that what you just said by Feinstein, she could have kept her anonymity.
She sat with him privately. You know she
no, I'm saying she could have brought up the accusation and said, I have someone, don't have to have the name. And so my heart goes out to Dr. Ford tomorrow. I think she should be given the benefit of the doubt. I think it's going to be incredibly hard, and I think it's kind of gross what they've done to her.
And I think the real question now is, now what? We have these allegations that are under oath.
Well, you heard Senator Grassley about
I want to talk about that a little bit. You know, let's say somehow this nomination goes forward and Judge Kavanaugh makes it out of committee and
you think there's doubt about that now?
I do think there's more doubt today than there was yesterday. Yesterday we were talking about Michael Avenatti going dark on Twitter and being trolled by a 4chan user. And Avenatti was very insistent that no, there was an actual person who had been deposed. But
we've seen him dance before, so you could understand.
Okay, but I'm looking even more forward. I'm looking past tomorrow, which is obviously critical. But how, at this point, does Judge Kavanaugh become Justice Kavanaugh without this hanging over his head for the rest of his career?
And I think that's a great point, Kennedy. And what will happen tomorrow is that, so far, the way it was said at least an hour ago, is that the Republican senators will defer their time to the woman from Arizona. She's a prosecutor, I believe.
Yes.
A lawyer. So they will take their time, and they will defer it to her. And they're not planning on asking questions at the moment. The Democrat senators have not indicated they may ask her questions. You know that they will will definitely ask Kavanaugh questions. So I anticipate if she does testify tomorrow, and if Kavanaugh then goes second, that the Democrat senators and the Republicans as well, I think, will use that time to likely ask about these allegations as well. That's
and you brought up an interesting point, Kennedy, and we kind of have all been discussing whether or not this third accuser would be invited to speak given the sworn statement that she gave Avenatti. One thing that I would say is she says, I observed Brett Kavanaugh drink excessively at many of these parties and engage in abusive and physically aggressive behavior toward girls. I wonder if there would be some sort of legal positioning, since we're not in court, for Dr. Ford to pinch it and pass off to someone else. I mean, that's one thing that's being asked about as well. We'll continue the breaking news following the reaction to these new allegations against Judge Kavanaugh. Additionally, a lot of other news making headlines this hour. House lawmakers are demanding Rod